Hey everybody, my name is Kim Anderson. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to your yoga practice. I'm super excited to have you here. We've got a great class in store where we're going to work on two things that I love to focus on in my own practice, which are heart opening and also getting into our hips. I think these are two areas where you physically can feel how much tension you maintain in your body, even when you think you're relaxed. So I think it's really interesting to explore these areas and work on slowly peeling away the layers. So that's what we're going to do today in class. I would ask you to bring at least one yoga block and a yoga strap. But of course, it doesn't have to be a yoga strap. It can also be the belt of your bathrobe. It can be a scarf. So nothing fancy is required. And also, if you don't have a block, you can use a book, maybe a thick book or a couple of thinner books if you don't have a thick book. But either way, you can easily modify and get creative to make something similar. So with that said, we will get started. I will remind you as well that if you haven't subscribed to my channel, to please do that, and that way you can stay up to date on the new classes as they come out. Get your things together, get on some comfy clothes, and I will see you on the mat. So we're going to start today's class lying our hearts on a block. If you don't have a yoga block, then that's not a problem. You can just substitute it with either a thick paperback book, which would be perfectly fine, or if you've got a thick hardback book, then you might want to lay kind of a little hand towel on top just to soften the corners so it doesn't dig into your back. And what you can do is take the block, and we're looking to place it right at the bottom tip of your shoulder blades. So that means that when you lie down, the top edge of the block or book is going to be at the bottom tip of your shoulder blades, and that'll be just enough to really push up and open your entire heart area. And you can lengthen out your legs. You want to make sure you don't have any, like a crick in your neck, so your neck feels nice and soft and good, really important. And let your arms drop open to the side. Close your eyes and take a couple of breaths just to feel this sensation of intense opening in your chest area. And this is a pretty unnatural pose. We spend a lot of the day slumping forward, hunched over. So this is kind of forcing us into the opposite movement, really exposing our heart area. And that can be really challenging to let yourself relax into this open movement. So bring your awareness in particular into the area behind your shoulders. And you might notice that even though you're lying here and your eyes are closed and you're in theory relaxed, you might be able to note that with the next exhale, you can actually drop your shoulders back a little bit or even a lot. And then take a couple of breaths here, seeing how that feels. As soon as you drop that space behind your shoulders, do you instinctually feel like contracting again and pulling your shoulders back up? And do your best to just really let your shoulders hang. And then perceive that your entire upper body is just hanging. So the block or book is helping to push our chest area open. But in order to go more intensely into this, we also have to not resist against it, which is a lot more easier said than done. So begin breathing deeply in and out of your nose. Try to soften your face and look to see if you're carrying any tension in your jaw or even in your hands and your feet. And then perceive this area, really feel the area where the block or book is touching your back. And see if it's possible to allow yourself to drop even more heavily against that area. After we stay here and breathe for a bit, it's almost as though our body can start to adapt and get used to this opening, which in the beginning seems so unnatural. So this is what we mean when we say to drop into a pose. You have to have a little bit of patience and give it a little bit of time. Relaxing your jaw, smoothing out your forehead. And on the next inhale, begin to breathe in a little bit more deeply and more slowly, even than you were doing until now. Feel the expansion of your chest. Feel the area that expands between your ribs, and feel your upper back where it's pushing into your block as you fill yourself up like a balloon. And then again, paying attention to the area behind your shoulders, smoothing out your face, open your lips and exhale everything out fully. And then closing your mouth, letting your whole body drop and just feeling the sensation, completely relaxed. And then without opening your eyes, begin to press into your elbows just enough so that you can lift up your chest, your head, and use your hand to remove the block. And then lay yourself back down. Open your arms and immediately feel that wave of sensation as your body reconnects. We have your heart and chest now on the same level as the rest of your body. And note how this might feel different to lay here, but to have really worked on opening our heart and our chest area. Feeling your shoulders drop back, feeling your face really relaxed. Soft expression. And after your next exhale, we're going to do another cleansing breath like we just did. Begin to inhale in through your nose. Again, feel the expansion in your chest, behind your heart, behind your ribs. Feel your back as it pushes down into the mat, giving space for all this air that you're filling yourself with. And then open your lips and exhale everything out. And then beginning to close your lips, bring your breathing back into a deep, slow, and steady pace in and out of your nose. And begin to place your feet on the ground with your legs bent, and then draw your legs in toward your chest, bringing your hands softly onto your knees. Your head and your entire spine are all still placed firmly on the ground. Start to squeeze your knees into your chest, and then gently rock from right to left. Nothing extreme. We don't want to do anything shocking now that we've finally managed to help our body relax a little bit. So everything is nice and soft. And then coming back to the center, begin to push your feet up toward the ceiling. Place your hands behind your thighs. Start to blink your eyes open. And then roll yourself forward and backwards, just 2 or 3 times. And the next time you come forward, cross your legs, roll onto your knees. You can just place your block to the side for the moment. And come onto hands and knees and check your alignment that your wrists are directly below your shoulders and your knees are directly below your hips. You can extend your feet here and activate the top of your feet into the mat. So you're creating a little bit of an arch here at the top of your ankles, and keep your feet activated. And do the same thing with your hands, where you really firmly push into the mat, and it's almost as though you're trying to pick up the mat with your fingers. So really gripping onto the mat, pushing your palm firmly into the mat, and activating your hands in the direction of your knees. And your knees are activated in the direction of your hands. Your belly nice and strong, pulling in. Inhale and start to lower your belly button, but keeping it nice and active. So you're pulling your belly button in. Feel your chest as it pulls in between your arms, but your hands are activated in the direction of your knees. Feel your bum pushing toward the back of the mat, and just feel this nice lengthening in your whole abdomen area. Looking forward with your gaze. And then on an exhale, begin to bring your pubic bone in. A slow roll to curve your spine. Drop your gaze between your knees and pushing into feet, knees, and hands. Really open up your upper back. And we're going to do that 2 more times with our breath. So feel this fluidity as you kind of slink your way down, inhaling. And you finish with your head raising up, looking into the distance. And then on an exhale, start to pull your pubic bone in, round your spine, and your gaze is the last thing to drop. Again, inhaling, and then exhaling. And then coming back to center, nice and strong, so you can feel the activation in your abdomen. Try to lengthen the crown of your head forward and your tailbone back. We're going to do a few pelvic circles. So we're trying to maintain the rib area, our whole upper body area, pretty immobile. We're trying not to move very much in that area. Activating into your feet, activating into your hands, and you're going to pull your pubic bone in. And then start to exhale as you push your left hip to the left. Inhale as you lift your tailbone up. And exhale, right hip to the right. Pubic bone in. And then continue like this. You can let your breathing come however it needs to. And see if you can just really keep this movement in your pelvic area. Trying not to move your upper body. Keeping your face soft. There's no perfect way to do this. And in fact, from the outside, it might not look like much of anything at all. But just try to feel if you can get some mobility in this area. We don't move this area a ton, especially in this way. And changing direction. And going a few times the other way. And I find it's particularly hard to do this keeping your face expressionless, because as you begin to concentrate on really focusing specifically where this movement is going, immediately your face gets, or my face gets a little bit grumpy as I'm concentrating. I get that furrowed brow and my jaw gets tight. So try to keep everything soft in your face. And then come back to the center. You can maybe swing your hips back and forth, side to side. And then from here, begin to walk your hands forward. So leaving your knees underneath your hips. Still activating into the top of your feet, walk your hands forward. And if you feel stable here, because this already starts to get pretty intense in your shoulders, we're going to start to drop our chest down. And to go a little bit more deeply into this, you might raise your hands up onto fingertips. And if you do this, you'll have the four fingers on top and the thumb in the back, and you're going to squeeze them toward each other. So you're activating your fingers. It's like, again, like you're trying to pick something up with your fingers. And this actually takes a little bit of work to get the strength in your fingers to do this. So if this is not working for you right now, then just keep your hands flat on the ground. And then you can try to build up a little bit of strength in your hands for this. What going onto your fingertips is going to do is raise the level of your arm. So then as your chest starts to drop down, you're going a little bit more deeply into this shoulder stretch. Now, on your flat hands or on your fingertips, start to activate the fingertips back toward you. So it's almost as though you want to drag your entire body forward. And you might feel a little bit of heat rise up in your shoulders. So breathe into that, relax your face, push your bum up toward the sky. Imagine that your tailbone is being lifted even further up. Take another breath here. And then begin to softly lift your chest away from the ground. You can walk your hands back, realigning your hands underneath your shoulders. Now from here, begin to push into your right hand, and with a soft bend in your right elbow, lift your left hand up to the sky. So nice little spinal twist. Create a lot of space in between your hands. And then on your next exhale, bring your left arm, thread it underneath your right arm with your palm facing up. Come onto your left shoulder and your left ear. And then if you feel stable here, begin to lift your right hand up to the sky. Really feel the weight sinking down into your left shoulder and your left ear. And then from here, flip your right palm to face the back. And then spiral your right arm behind you. And you can either bring your fist onto your tailbone, or you can kind of wiggle your fingers all the way around until they touch your left thigh. And then use this leverage of your right hand grabbing onto your left inner thigh or hip or pants, something, and use it to pull your right shoulder a little bit further back. Keep dropping into your left shoulder and pushing your tailbone up to the sky. Relax your jaw. Your next inhale, right hand comes up, and then bring your right hand back down. Inhaling, lift your left hand all the way back up to the sky. And then bring your left hand down to the ground. Switching sides, pushing into your left hand. We're going to inhale, open our right hand up to the sky. You can gaze up toward your right hand if that's okay on your neck. Exhale, thread your right arm underneath your left arm, coming onto your right shoulder and your right ear. Tailbone lifting up toward the sky and really feeling your weight sinking down into your right shoulder. Begin to lift your left hand, again, only if you feel stable doing this. If you don't feel stable yet, then just keep your left hand on the ground. You can begin, if you've lifted your left hand, to flip your palm back and then spiral your arm around, looking for something to grab onto, whether it be your leg or your pants, and use that to help pull your left shoulder back just a little bit. It's a little bit of a deeper opening. No strain in your neck. If you ever feel any strain in your neck, then definitely come out of the pose. Your next inhale, bring your left hand back up to the sky, and exhale, left hand back down. Inhaling to open back up to the right, and exhale, right hand down to the mat. From here, inhale, lift your toes all 10 of them at the same time, and then simultaneously bring them down onto the mat. Begin to activate, pushing your hands forward. Start to lift your knees, lift your bum, and then come into downward facing dog. So here, keep a soft bend in your elbows, soft bend in your knees. It's almost as though you're trying to widen your butt up toward the sky, which I know sounds funny, but try to imagine that you're doing just that, really. Pushing your tailbone up, pulling your belly button in. Now create a little bit of space between your hands and your armpits. And then create a little bit of space between your armpits and your hips. And then also feel the line coming up from your heels through your hips. And try to lengthen that out. Now, that doesn't mean that your legs have to be straight. We're just looking to get some space and feel that our weight is distributed evenly between our hands and our feet. Let's take a deep inhale into our nose. Fill everything up like a balloon, and then exhale everything out. On your next inhale, begin to look toward your hands, and you're going to put your weight into your left foot and gently step your right foot up to your right hand and sink down onto your left knee. Coming into low lunge, activate your left knee forward and your right knee back. Lift your hands up to the sky. Try to keep your hips squared and your legs are super, super active here. And then exhale, interlace your hands behind you and bring the top of your fingers onto your lower back, more down onto your tailbone if possible. Try to move your belly a little bit away from the top of your thigh and then pull your elbows closer together behind you. Lengthen your neck, give your neck some space, soften your jaw, and take a couple of breaths here. Now, pushing into your fingers, try to pull your belly away from your thigh, but you can shift your whole pelvis forward, and you're going to feel that that really lengthens into the front of the left hip. On your next inhale, release your hands, lift them up to the sky, and then exhale, bring both hands to the inside of your right foot. Now you might want to give yourself some space, heel toeing your right foot more to the edge of the mat, the right edge of the mat, and then lift your left knee. And trying to do this with intention and not just launching yourself forward. See if you can kind of slowly step your left foot up to the top of the mat. Now, your feet are the width of the mat. Your hands are on the inside of your feet. Turn your toes slightly out, heels slightly in. And we're going to come into a squat. So I'll show you what that looks like from here, even though I have pants that cover everything, so you can't really see that well. Hands on the mat. Now, your heels might lift up here, and that's perfectly fine. You can just work on feeling your bum sinking back, but trying to still lift your chest up. Keep your hands down. You can kind of use your arms like two pillars, so you're not collapsing into anything. And of course, if your heels do come down to the mat, then see if you can sink yourself back. So feeling your bum get heavy, but at the same time, really pulling your heart forward. So you're trying to also close that area in between your shoulder blades. And then from here, begin to lift your hips and walk your left foot back into the middle of the mat, and then step your right foot to the back and come down onto your right knee. Coming into low lunge on the other side, so activating your right knee, pressing it against the mat, pulling it forward, and pulling your left heel back. Your left knee is directly above your left ankle. And of course, if you need some cushioning underneath your right knee, then just put a little hand towel or a sock or something underneath your knee. Bring your hands back to interlace behind your tailbone again. And feel the natural way that you interlace your fingers. And then do it with the opposite thumb on top. Bring your fingers to rest on your lower back. Pull your belly away from the top of your thigh. And try to pull your elbows a little bit closer together. Now you can try to feel how your fingers gently nudge your pelvis forward. Open up your heart. Look forward and relax your face. Release your fingers. Lift your hands up to the sky. Inhaling, exhaling. Bring your hands down to the mat. Now from here, lift your right knee. And again, we're going to step forward, but not with our feet the distance of the mat. We're just going to step our feet hips distance apart, parallel, feet are parallel, hands to the mat. Forward fold, and feel the sensation in your hips in particular here. It's kind of like a floodgate opens. And we've gone to poke and prod, and then we've got to let our body absorb the sensations that come out of that. Now, as you're forward folding here, you might choose to interlace your fingers, and with a soft bend in your elbows, allow your arms to drop over your body. If that is not something that you're into doing right now, then you can just keep your forward fold a little more simple with your hands on the ground or hands to elbows. And I invite you to always move when you feel like you need to move, and to be still when you feel like you need to be still. So sometimes if you feel like a little wiggle might be a yummy thing to do, then do it. Don't wait for me to invite you to do things. If you feel like your body is craving to kind of swing back and forth here, then you do it. And if you prefer just staying still and feeling, then you do that. If your hands are interlaced, release your fingers. Inhale, lifting your head up halfway, getting some space in your spine. And then on an exhale, gently swing your left leg back and step your toes to the mat. Come down onto your left knee. And this time, bring your left hand below your left shoulder and bring your right hand on top of your thigh. Now, from here, start to lift the inner part of your right foot. So you're coming onto the knife edge of your right foot. You're pushing that into the mat. And you can use your hand to gently, gently push your right knee a little bit farther away from you. Keep a soft bend in your left elbow. And you can begin to also shift your pelvis back a little bit as you push your right hand into your leg. And move around a little bit here and just feel as you move, pushing into the right side of your right foot. If you'd like, you can inhale, lift your right hand up to the sky. You can stay on the knife edge of your right foot. And then exhale, begin to bring your right hand toward the back of the mat. You can stay like this. If you have the space and you'd like to try, you can also lift your left foot. Now, if your foot doesn't get up to your hand, and you got to be careful here with your hamstring, because if you exert it a little bit too much, you will get a cramp, and it can be quite painful. It's happened to me many times. So going nice and easy and never forcing anything. Now, if your hand does get to your left foot, or does not get to your left foot, then you can put a strap around your foot and then use the strap around your foot to pull your foot a little bit more closely to your body. A couple more breaths here, really activating into the right side of your right foot, gentle bend in your left elbow, and trying to get your left foot, if you've lifted it, closer to your bum. And then release your left foot toward the back of the mat. Bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. We're going to do what we did before. So stepping up, left foot outside, left hand, and coming again into a squat. Now you can keep your hands on the ground like we did before, or you might be okay this time with trying to lift your chest up, lift your hands up, bringing your hands into prayer in front of your chest, and trying to shift your heart forward toward your thumbs as you push your bum behind you. So trying to get a lot of length in your spine, trying to close that area between your shoulder blades as you push your sternum forward, relaxing your face. If at any point you feel like you've got a lot of grip in your face, you need a trick for relaxing it, then just smile, teensy bit, and that'll usually help soften things. Now on your next exhale, bring your hands down, lift your hips up, and then walk your feet back to the center so they're parallel, about hips distance apart. Let your head hang down and bring your interlaced fingers with your palms pushing together, the heels of your palm pushing together, and bring the heels of your palm to the area right on the nape of your neck, so right where your neck and your head meet. And let this added weight of your arms really help to lengthen your spine just a tad bit more. Keep a soft bend in your knees. And then releasing your hands, bring your hands to the mat beneath your shoulders. Inhale to lift yourself up halfway. Now, while your spine is lengthened like this, push your tailbone back, your crown of your head forward, keeping your right hand below your face. Push into the mat, and if your arm doesn't reach with your legs lengthened out, then bend your knees a little bit. Really important to lengthen your spine. Pushing into the mat, inhale, lift your left hand up to the sky. Try to keep your hips parallel, because usually one of them wants to push out a little bit more than the other. So trying to really keep your hips squared. Flip your palm to face the back and start to, again, rotate your left arm, just like we did at the beginning, behind you, and use your fingertips to grab onto your right thigh. And then pull your left shoulder back. If it's okay with your neck, gaze up to the sky. On your next inhale, left hand up. Exhale, put your left hand where your right hand was. Lengthen, crown of your head forward, inhaling. And then exhale, start to lift your right hand up. Again, you're trying to pull your right hip back a little bit and then rotate your right arm behind you. Use your fingertips to grab the inside of your left thigh or your pants and pull your right shoulder a little bit farther back. If it's not okay on your neck to look up toward the ceiling, then just look directly in front of you or down at the ground. Perfectly fine. Soften your face. One more breath. And then lifting right hand up to the sky and then bringing right hand down to the mat. Take a little wiggle, a little shake, or stay still. And then inhale, lifting yourself up, lengthening your spine. Exhale, start to let your right foot make its way toward the back of the mat. Come down onto your right foot, sink down onto your right knee. Now, right hand comes flat onto the ground beneath your right shoulder. You can begin to open your chest toward the left. Bring your left hand on top of your left thigh. Lift your left foot, so the inside of your left foot, and use your left hand, to gently push your left knee farther away from you. So you're opening your knee toward the outside, the left side of your mat. Keep a soft bend in your right elbow, and you can shift your hips back a little bit. So shift your whole pelvic area back. Keep rotating your ribs and move a little bit here just to feel what happens if you do slide your your pubic bone forward or you shift your tailbone back. Now, if this is feeling okay in the front of your right hip, then you might want to start to lift your left hand up to the sky. You can keep your left knee dropping out toward the left. Begin to bring your left hand toward the back of the mat, and this is already wonderful. It's really, you're trying to close the area between your shoulder blades, pushing your chest forward. We're going deep into our right psoas. If you'd like, you can add just a little bit by lifting your right foot and taking hold of it with your left fingers, using your left hand to pull your right foot toward your bum and activating your right foot against your left hand at the same time. Keep breathing. If it is too much to lift your right foot at this moment, then leave it on the ground and just keep reaching your left fingertips toward the back of the mat. You'll still get the opening. One more breath here, soften your jaw. And then release your right foot. Bring your left hand back to the top of the mat. And then from here, lift your right knee, and we're going to shift our right foot forward to the top of the mat. From here, start to shift your bum down. Bring your hands behind you, and we come to sit. Feet in front of you, parallel. Bring your hands behind you, fingertips pointing toward your bum, and the same action we did when our fingers were intertwined, you're going to try to pull your elbows a little bit closer toward each other. And that action is going to push your heart forward. Now, as your heart is pushing forward, really engage your abs, pull your belly button in, and start to imagine that there's like a hook on your heart that's lifting your chest up, 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 up. But at the same time, you're pulling your elbows in toward each other. Activate into your feet, really firmly pushing into both feet, firmly pushing into both hands. And on an inhale, begin to lift your bum off the ground. Now you can keep gazing toward your knees. If it's comfortable, you can begin to look up toward the sky and keep drawing your shoulders closer to each other. And imagine that you're creating distance between your shoulders and your knees. So lengthening everything out as much as you can. And then exhale, lowering your bum to the ground. Inhale, bring your arms forward. And then on an exhale, take your strap with you and roll yourself down onto your back. And once you get onto your back, take a moment to take a nice deep breath just to arrive. Now, from here, lift your hips up just a little bit by pushing into your feet and shift your hips over to the left, but not a lot, like literally like 2 centimeters. And then from here, you're going to lengthen out your right leg flat on the ground. Take your strap and place it below your left foot. And using your right hand, holding both the straps, you can kind of walk yourself up however far you can go, but keeping your leg extended with a soft bend in your left knee. But we don't want our leg to be a lot bent here. So you can have your hand farther away from your foot, and that might enable you to lengthen out your leg a little bit more. From here, inhale, and then exhale. We're going to gently bring our left foot over us toward the right. Now, if you can do this with your hand on your foot, then your hand is on the outside of your the left edge of your left foot, and that's perfectly fine. So either way, with your hand on your foot or your hand on the strap, take your left hand and place it right on the top of your left thigh and gently push your left thigh away from you. And you're going to feel that this might feel a little strange. you're creating some space in pushing your left hip a little bit away from you. Keep your feet both nice and active, and then you can keep your left hand on your leg, or you can begin to open your left hand to the left and gently allow your head to roll over to gaze toward the left. Soften your face. Take a couple more breaths. Trying to feel your left shoulder making its way closer to the mat. Trying to release tension in your right shoulder. And then with the next inhale, look back to the center. Begin to lift your left foot up to the center. Release your left foot and lengthen it out on the mat. So just stay here on your back for a moment. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then placing both feet on the mat for a moment, just enough to lift your hips, shift them over to the right, and then lengthening out your left leg. Lift your right foot up to the sky, and strap is going to go below our right foot. Again, you can regulate how close you want your hand to be to your foot. So whatever distance will allow you to really lengthen through the back of your right leg, but keeping a soft bend in your right knee. So we don't want to hyperextend. We're just looking to lengthen, especially in the hamstrings. Inhale, and then exhale gently, bringing your right foot over and to the left. Now, once you arrive with your legs, take your right hand and gently push the top of your right thigh toward the bottom of the mat, so in the direction of your left foot. Feel any sensation that makes bubble up. And then if you would like, you can begin to gently roll your right arm open to the right and let your gaze fall over to the right. And see, even without your hand on the top of your right thigh, if you can still activate the right hip and gently pull it away from your face toward your left foot. Your next inhale, bring your gaze back to the center. Bring your right foot to the center. And release your right foot. You can set your strap to the side. And bring your right leg down, extended on the ground. Open up your arms. And take a deep breath into your nose, really filling your entire body up as much as you can. And a nice exhale to get everything extra that you don't need out of the way. And then staying here in Savasana. Letting your body absorb everything that has come up during the practice, digest it. Your body knows how to do that. We just need to lay here without getting too much in the way and allow your breathing to come back to normal, your heartbeat to come back to normal. If you've got a warm sweatshirt, woolly socks, or a blanket, then you might want to grab those and keep your body warm. And that'll really help you to fully relax, to fully arrive into your Savasana. And I invite you to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you have available. And if that is just 1 minute, that's okay. If it's 5, 10 minutes, that's great. So whatever you have space for, just allow yourself to be fully present, fully connected to your body. And thank you so much for practicing with me. And I hope you have a beautiful day.